Hi everyone, and ever since I finally completed my tutorial video about ND filters, I've been weirdly fascinated with them. Go and watch that video if you'd like to find out more. But if I've sold you on ND filters, well, which one should you buy? There's a big market for them, and recently there have been a flurry of new manufacturers and technologies to improve their quality. So in this video, I'll be comparing 16 different popular ND filters of various different prices. We'll take a look at their build quality, and in terms of image quality, I'll be looking at just how neutral they really are, how much they affect image quality, which should be not at all. I'd like to thank the following manufacturers for courageously sending me sample filters for this test. However, as usual, this is a completely independent and unbiased review. In order to keep this test fair, they were all 67mm diameter filters and all supposed to offer 10 stops of darkening, so pretty dark filters. I conducted these tests using an extremely sharp Samyang 35mm f1.4 FE lens and a full-frame Sony a7R II camera. I'll be looking at color cast. A slight color cast won't be too troublesome to correct in editing, but a strong color cast can cause problems and be time-consuming to correct. I'll also look at vignetting, flaring, and sharpness and contrast. We'll also look at how close each filter really is to giving 10 stops of darkness, or whether it's a bit lighter or darker than advertised. I'm also going to briefly look at their build quality. As a general rule, the frames of cheaper filters are made of aluminium, and the more expensive ones, brass. And brass has much less of a tendency to bind to your camera lens and get stuck on, so I'm convinced that brass is a far preferable material to use. Also, different filters have different coatings, and some are more resistant to oil and dirt and are easier to clean than others. So I'll also show you how cleanable they are by laying a couple of big greasy thumbprints on each one and seeing how easy it is to clean with a brand new chamois cleaning cloth, which I ordered from Digital Rev. If you're going to be getting lots of nice long exposure shots around waterfalls and beaches and rivers, then that's actually a far more important feature than you might think. If you want to see a list of these filters and skip ahead to a particular one, then look down in the description to find all the time points you need, and you'll find a little more information down there too about how I conducted these tests. I hope that all makes sense, so let's start with the cheapest filters and go upwards from there. Firstly, the lowest budget 10-stop filter I could find commonly available, the charmingly named Iron Pro. My wife is a professional graphic designer, and when I showed her this filter's box design, her face seemed to turn quite a similar shade of lilac, and she burst out laughing. What on earth were their designers thinking? The build quality of this filter is lightweight aluminium, and the glass moves around within a slightly bendable casing quite easily, giving a really shoddy impression. It's also a bit tricky to clean the surface of the filter when it gets dirty. But more important than both of those issues is image quality, and considering how inexpensive this filter is, it's not bad at all. There's just a slightly cool color cast, not much flaring, and reasonably good sharpness. Its image quality definitely outperforms its build quality. Right on the low budget tail of the pig iron filter is this offering from Neewer, their slim DN1000. Neewer's slogan is a rather brazen, pro-quality amateur prices. We'll be the judge of that. The metal casing of this filter is, again, cheap, lightweight aluminium, although it's more solidly assembled than the pig iron filter. The Neewer filter is similarly troublesome to clean though. In your images, the Neewer gives a moderate blue-green color cast with heavy vignetting. Here we have a low-budget ND filter from K&F or K&F Concept, a manufacturer of low-budget camera accessories. The filter comes in one of these circular plastic cases. I'm not a fan myself, they don't make storage very easy. The filter inside is clearly made of aluminium and feels slightly scratchy and lightweight. Impressively though, considering this filter's price, it has a special nano coating, which makes it a lot easier to clean than others in this price range. It's not quite as good as the more expensive filters, but its cleanability is pretty handy. In your images, the K&F Concept gives a disturbingly strong blue colour cast, and it's rather brighter than 10 stops. It handles bright lights very well though. Next up, an Australian company called Gobe. This is their slightly more expensive 16-layer filter. They also offer a cheaper 12-layer version. The outside of the box only talks about a company's care for the environment. Let's see if their quality matches their ethics. The metal edging feels slightly rough and lightweight, however it's made of magnesium, a stronger metallic alloy than just aluminium, so it actually feels quite solid, and it should be a bit more hardy than the cheaper filters, and I found its surface to be slightly easier to clean than average. The optical performance of the Gobe filter is similar to the K&F Concept one. In your images, it also gives a strong blue colour cast, and it's a little brighter than 10 stops. However, it does seem a little sharper than the K&F Concept filter. ZOMEi are a Chinese filter manufacturer who have been around for a while, and I managed to track down one of their 10-stop ultra slim Pro ND filters. The frame is made of aluminium. It feels lightweight, but it's solidly put together with tactile grooves around the edge to help you get it on and off. The glass surface wasn't particularly easy to clean though. In your images, the ZOMEi filter gives you quite faithful colours. They look just slightly cool. It's another filter that performs well against bright lights, but it's only averagely sharp. Tiffen are a major photographic accessories company, and they have a good reputation, but their ND filters do not. This is from Tiffen's least expensive aXent range of filters, the only ones I could find easily available in the UK. Worryingly, the box is at pains to state that this filter has no infrared absorption. We'll have to see what implications on image quality that has. The build quality of the filter is pretty average. It's not the thinnest profile filter. Most of the other filters in this group are thinner. Tiffen doesn't say what it's made of, but it feels almost certainly aluminium. The glass surface is a little easier to clean than average. When it comes to optical quality, well, colour me Chernobyl. Everything's bathed in radioactive green. The sharpness of your image is excellent, but contrast levels are badly reduced, and the filter gives a lighter image than it should for a 10-stop density model. It's more like 9 stops really, and there's quite noticeable vignetting. Considering that this is a test of neutral density filters and not special effects ones, this aXent filter fails rather badly. Now we're jumping up a little in price and looking at our first option from highly regarded German manufacturer B+W. This is their less expensive F Pro 110 model. It has a rather deeper profile than some of the other filters in this video, not great for shooting with ultra-wide angle lenses, but it does make the filter feel nice and weighty. It's the least expensive one of these options to be made of brass, so it's less likely to bind to your camera lens. The glass surface is a little easier to clean than average, which is helpful. In terms of image quality, this filter gives a noticeably cool image with some vignetting. However, it's the first perfectly sharp filter in this list so far, and it handles bright lights very well. Marumi are a well-known Japanese filter manufacturer. I already own and regularly use a number of their fit and slim polarizing filters, which are very good, not to mention great value for money. Their line of ND filters is far more expensive though. Let's take a look. This filter comes in an old school round plastic container, like they did in the 1970s. The glass is averagely easy to clean, but it wobbled inside the metal frame, leaving a poor impression of its build quality. It feels like the frame is made of aluminium and not brass, although I can't say for sure. The finish feels a little scratchy to touch. In your images, the Marumi filter performs quite well. Colours are quite faithful, just a hint of blue here, and it's reasonably sharp too, making up somewhat for its weak build quality. Irix are branching out from making manual focus camera lenses by marketing a line of thin profile filters, which featured heavily in my last video about ND filters. Well, let's take a closer look at their quality now. This filter's box is nicely designed, but really large. It's the same as they use for their 95mm diameter filters. The frame is made of aluminium, not brass, which is a bit of a shame, but it still feels really smooth, solid, and it has some grooves to help you get it on and off the lens. It has a special oil and water repellent surface, which makes the filter incredibly easy to clean. Dust and oil just lifts right off really quickly. In terms of image quality, the filter is impressively neutral. Colours are very faithful, with just a hint of red, and it's sharp, with low flaring and low vignetting. NiSi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, are a Chinese company who have been making some waves on the market, with their square filter system being considered quite competitive. Well, let's see how their circular filters stack up. Firstly, this is the second filter here to have a frame made of brass. Important, and it feels very high quality. It also has a nano coating, which is quite easy to clean. In your images, the NiSi filter gives a slightly cool colour cast, and it struggles a bit with flaring, but it manages to be nice and sharp. Hoya have been an extremely popular brand of all kinds of filters on the market. They're normally a safe bet for anyone who's on a medium budget, although this new Pro ND line of filters is actually pretty expensive. This filter's frame is of normal thickness, not slim, so you might experience problems with very wide-angle lenses, but otherwise, despite being made of aluminium and not brass, the build quality still feels pretty solid. An issue I've found is that this filter is a bit difficult to clean. Any water or oil tends to smear on a coating quite badly, requiring careful cleaning. In terms of image quality, we see almost perfect colour accuracy, low vignetting, and good resistance to flaring. The image isn't all that sharp though, an issue which other reviewers have also noticed. The Hoya Pro ND is an excellent filter, but the sharpness and cleanability problems are quite considerable flies in the ointment. Now then, we're moving on, and I have to be careful here not to be biased, as Formatt Hitech are a company from my home country of Wales, as you can tell by the Welsh dragon in their company logo. They have quickly built a good international reputation for themselves in the world of square filters, so let's look at one of their circular screw-on offerings, the Firecrest Super Slim. The frame, you guessed it, is nice and slim, and made of high-grade anodized aluminium. The construction is solid, but it doesn't feel like anything special to handle. What is special though, is its amazing coating, which is one of the easiest to clean in this entire group. Very impressive. In terms of image quality, the Firecrest is really sharp, with low vignetting, and it's a very accurate 10 stops of density. It struggles quite a bit against bright lights though, with the intrusion of some strange flaring, and its colours are slightly on the cool side. Now here's another filter from veteran manufacturer B+W, this time from their more expensive XS-Pro line, the XS-Pro 810. It has a much thinner profile than the 110 series, so it's lighter, but it's also made of brass, so it feels just as solid. I also found it slightly easier to clean than their cheaper filter, but it still required a little effort. The filter's images are really sharp, but contrast is slightly low. Vignetting and flaring are both low, but like its less expensive brother, there's a somewhat cool colour cast to its images. Next up, Breakthrough are a relatively new company based in San Francisco, making premium quality filters. I already own a circular polarizing filter made by Breakthrough, which I'm really happy with. They come with an impressive 25-year guarantee. Can they give the more established filter brands something to worry about? Let's see. The nicely designed white box is quite tricky to prise open, but the plastic box inside is normal, thankfully. The design of the filter is gorgeous. It's made of brass with a bit of weight to it. It twists right onto your lens with no scratchiness, and there's ribbing all around the outside to help you get it back off again. The coatings are a beautiful red colour on one side and blue on the other. Interesting. They repel oil and dirt, making the filter incredibly easy to clean, just like the Irix model. I know it might sound a bit ridiculous, but I absolutely love the design and build quality of this thing. It just seems to press my own particular buttons. The image quality of this filter is also exceptionally good. Colours and sharpness are perfect, vignetting and flaring are both quite low. That's pretty much all you can ask for. Next up, Polaroid are a new company which seems to be experiencing a meteoric rise, with excellent reviews of their product and plenty of media exposure, especially helped by their founder appearing on Shark Tank, the American version of Dragon's Den, where he negotiated $1 million investment. They're well known for sinking huge amounts of money into research and development to keep ahead of the game. This particular filter is by far the most expensive featured here, so it had better be seriously impressive. First impressions are great. Along with the various bits and bobs included are a soft pouch and a beautiful quality hard case. The filter's frame is made of brass with a distinctive bronze coloured edging, and the coatings are a hypnotising purpley bronze colour. Those coatings are very hard to scratch or make dirty in any way. Any kind of moisture is strongly repelled and wipes off immediately. Nice. The filter's optical quality befits its price, being almost perfect, extremely sharp with almost perfectly accurate colours. The darkness is exactly 10s tops, making your exposure times easy to calculate. But I was disappointed by its performance against bright lights, where we see some flaring. And finally, some of you might be wondering about variable ND filters. I'm not a fan of them myself, but to satisfy people's curiosity, I decided to include this variable ND filter, as it was the only affordable one that I could find which could get as dark as ND1000. Most others only go down to ND400 unless you're willing to spend a huge amount of money. It comes in an unsightly, twistable plastic box which is annoying to bend back together. The filter's build quality is pretty average, with the glass layers feeling a bit flimsy, but the coatings aren't too hard to clean. When it comes to its optics, firstly I want to make it clear that at brighter densities, the filter's image quality is fine, no real problems when it's set to brighter densities, but by the time you top it down nearly all the way to ND1000, we see some alarming problems, with strange colours and patterning everywhere, and it's not particularly sharp either. If you need a very dark ND filter, then this is absolutely not an option for you. So, overall, looking at the ratings and the prices, it does seem like you generally get what you pay for, well, depending on your priorities. In the low budget category, the pig iron filter, despite its build quality, and the ZOMEi filter offered particularly good value. Mid-range filters offer better sharpness and less vignetting, where the Irix Edge filter stood out for me, and the high-end filters offer brass frames with great build quality and almost perfect optics, the Breakthrough and Polar Pro filters being exceptionally impressive. The only filters to really avoid were the crazy Tiffen filter and the variable Polaroid filter, although more expensive variable filters may perform a bit better. If you twisted my arm to force me to pick a favourite, it would have to be the Breakthrough X4 filter. Its image quality is great, but its design and build quality had a certain je ne sais quoi that really did it for me. It really is a thing of beauty. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. I know this sounds strange, but it was really enjoyable for me to put together, if a bit time consuming. And again, I'd really like to thank those companies who bravely sent me sample filters for testing. Keep an eye on my channel for more of the usual lens reviews, some really interesting ones coming up, and one more final video about ND filters, well, one in particular, the darkest in existence. That video will come out when the sun finally emerges for long enough here in Wales for me to test it, so don't hold your breath. NiSi siarad I chi eto. See you again soon.